eat every day.
Sometimes you don't want to come home because you can't put your heating on.
I work 5 days a week and I still have to use a community shop.
Millions of people in the UK are in paid employment, but still struggling to make ends meet.
We are penny pinching.
I thought the saying was that they who don't work shall not eat, not they who work still shall not eat. That's like the contradiction of capitalist morals, which are generally wrapped up with reactionary, extreme Protestant bullshit. Like, we're taught that the Bible teaches us that if you work, not just the Bible, but like society in general teaches us that if we work, then we will have a good life. We'll be able to afford a family. We'll be able to, yeah, UK, the home of capitalism. We'll be able to have a family, raise kids, go on vacation once a year, do all this good shit. But this is the reality. Like, this is the shit that radicalizes people. These people are working. This lady works 5 days a fucking week, ordinary working class work week, and she still can't make it. She still has to go to a food pantry. And do you have any idea like how degrading that is? Like, you're conditioned from birth to work hard and save your money and scrimp, live within your income. And even with doing all of that, you still have to rely on charity. This is why we need communism. This is why we need communism. Nobody gives a shit about infrared. Bunch of degenerates and autists.
We're counting the pennies every day.
So I have school today, and then after school, right after school, I have work.
Like, it's funny, like these infrared people, these MAGA comms or whatever, like they consider themselves the voice of the working class. And I'm here watching literally a video about the working class, and all they could think about is themselves. It's like those idiots on Twitter that find anti-blackness in a bouquet of roses. Like, the world doesn't fucking revolve around you. Most people in the world don't know who you are, don't give a fuck even if they did. Go outside, touch grass, quit listening to that loud Lebanese weirdo and his twink boyfriend, and go out and do something with your life and do something for the people.
Work, so I could get home between 11 and 1:30. Yeah, tired already. I'm tired in advance.
Also note that many of these people are like, I guarantee you most of the people that are interviewed for this are going to be of Afro-Caribbean or African descent. In the US, we just say black. Or they're going to be elderly. Like, in no functioning society should people who are 75, 80 years old, people with fucking gray hair, be working.
I don't talk to my family. I live by myself, so I have to do everything by myself.
Like, this is basically Dickens with Wi-Fi. Like, they never got out of the Victorian era.
The final year of school is never easy, but when you're on your own, it's more than just exams and deadlines.
Groceries, budgets, all of that kind of stuff, that's me. Otherwise it just won't get done. I pack lunch, packets of noodles.
In communism, you get to focus on your studies. You don't have to worry about, like, where you're going to eat. People will literally bring you food. You can literally go and get all the fucking food you want. Food, shelter, clothing. If you get sick, healthcare. Like, that's nothing. You don't have to worry about that stuff. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff under socialism. You used Mao's separation of tasks
because it's cheap
to resolve some conflicts with your shit lib roommate. Okay. That's based. But yeah, like, we should not have to worry about this stuff.
People to do that. Everything's getting more expensive.
World, what is the tea? You know, my middle-aged white coworker found out that I'm gay. Like, I'm not, like, you don't look at me in public in real life and they're like, oh yeah, he's definitely gay. I guess they call it straight passing. Like, people are surprised that I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have several kids. And like, I tell them I'm gay. I come out to them and they're like, oh, you're fucking full of shit. Like, my white coworker, I guess she was what you would call an F-word hag back in the day. I think that was the term they used, but basically a woman that likes to hang out with gay dudes, and like her entire inflection or tone of voice and talking to me has changed. It's hilarious.
But you're not getting any richer, you're not getting paid anymore. So it's like you either have to save excessively or you pay for food and you don't have money left over for bills and stuff like that. I shouldn't feel bad that I can't eat every day. That's not a good thing
You should feel bad at the system that makes it so that you can't eat every day.
at all.
BRG is a butch queen, and that's why we love you. Hey.
How long have you had to go without food?
Probably longest, maybe 2 or 3 days. Hopefully no one else has to be in this situation, but water helps. Like, because you trick yourself into feeling full.
Kafira is retaking her last year of school after balancing work, studies, and housing became too much.
I was just skipping a lot more to work so that I'd have money to pay my rent. By doing that, I did almost cost myself my education. School have helped me quite a bit. I think everyone noticed the stuff were not great for me. I wasn't really eating properly, sleeping properly, doing anything properly. I guess the hardest thing about it is like no one really taught me how to do it.
Politicians repeatedly tell voters the best way out of hardship is to get a job.
These people have jobs. Meantime, the politicians have probably never worked like a fucking regular working class job in their lives. Working for the Conservative Party or the Labour Party doesn't fucking count.
But for a growing number,
Like, that's make work shit. Those people do nothing. Staring at a computer all day. Oops. And like paper shuffling and playing on the telephone and securing power for your little party. Like, that's not work. You're helping to administer the machinations and workings of capital. It's sickening. The poor deserve everything. The poor deserve to be in state power. That's why we are communists. All power to the proletariat.
of people, it's just not enough.
When
Dang, I wish I could help this woman. If I was rich, I could definitely help this lady. No, the only way to help this lady is to establish and fight for a system in which the working class is in power. You can give out all the charity you want. You're not going to eradicate poverty. It'll make you feel good about yourself, and it might help one or two people, but ultimately it doesn't solve these systemic problems. We live in a fucked up, horrible system where people are compelled to drink water to stave off hunger or burn themselves alive. And yeah, we have to make a fundamental change. We have to uproot this fucked up way of life that exists. Like, I had a guy on Twitter the other day tell me that he eats nothing but rice. Nothing but rice. No meat, no nothing. Like, don't you know that, like, if you eat nothing but white rice, you could get a disease called beriberi? Like, it was very common in Indonesia and Southeast Asia and the Philippines during World War II because the Japanese took all the food, and you had people that were suffering with these horrible conditions that are directly attributable to malnutrition caused by Japanese imperialism. And here we are in the United States in the year 2024, and we have malnutrition attributable to Yankee imperialism.
it's a choice between you getting some new shoes and your daughter getting some new shoes. You buy yourself some super glue to glue your shoes together, and I do. And it shouldn't have to be like that. It really shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't.
I don't do a weekly shop. I can shop daily for bargains, and I can go from one supermarket to another. And we are penny pinching. We're counting the pennies every day.
Once you've bought all the essentials for the month, how much are you left with?
Nothing. We're not living a life. I think we're just plodding on.
For the last 14 years, Melanie has been working in a local school as a learning support assistant.
I've always had at least 1 or 2 jobs. Worked for every call centre, seasonal work, local football team, cleaning.
You've done it all.
Yeah, been there. Got the T-shirt. You do it for your children. All 3 of my children, they've seen Mum doing her best. We have a lot of staff illnesses due to being overworked. And you've bushed your gut so much, you've got nothing left. when
I'm
you
going to go
come
get my
home.
lunch. You
and you
all
think
are
to
going to watch
yourself,
this, and I hope it makes you mad.
Is it worth me getting up and going to work in the morning, knowing I could do half the hours that I wanted to and get my rent paid, council tax paid, but it's pride at the end of the day.
Where Melanie lives in Yorkshire, almost 1 in 4 people live in poverty. In the northeast, the situation is even worse. And living in poverty almost always means struggling to put food on the table. As food bank use reaches record highs, community shops like this one in South Tyneside are popping up all over the country to fill the gap between rising costs and stagnant wages.
So I'll be getting some eggs, some bananas and potatoes. My little boy loves eggs, so it's worth it if you get that. You're allowed to come here once a week. It costs £4. I only work part-time, however, I'm above the threshold for getting any kind of help from sort of the government. I can't be referred to a food bank. So even though I'm struggling, I'm a single parent, I can't get any help from anywhere. So this is a good way to do it. When you sort of leave school, you never think, right, this is going to be me using help from people, using community shops, using food banks. You think you're going to be able to provide, and some weeks I can't. There's no way I would ever buy this from a supermarket, only
Why?
because it's too expensive.
I work. My wife also works, but recently our kids just came into the country, 4 of them. So they eat a lot. What we make as income is probably not enough. It's just minimum wage, so it doesn't cover the bills, the rent, and every other thing we need to pay for. So that's basically why I have to come. It doesn't make sense that we have to go through all this. Despite the fact that we're working full time.
Record numbers of people in the UK are finding work, but many of those jobs are insecure. And while inflation rates are slowly improving, real-term wages and benefits aren't keeping up.
So yeah, it's half term this week, which it's nice to have time off, and it is to switch off. But then you're still worrying, we're at home all day now. Budgeting your gas, your electric, what are you going to eat this week? Cheese and butter, please. I used to cook every day. I know I can't afford to do a meal every day. So when you do, you cook double, so the next day it's there just to warm up. And do you know what? I don't want this for my children when they go out and be their own little adults and get their own lives out there. I don't want that. And I don't want them to see me struggling.
What would you like to see happen?
I'd like to see our wages.
I was muted. I said I actually strongly encourage shoplifting. Because what the bourgeoisie, what the ruling class is doing is far, far worse. Here's my lunch.
To make her have a better quality of life. I'm not wanting a flash car, I'm not wanting fancy trainers. I just want to be able to get up in the morning and think, I can put my heating on today. And that's all that we need. Go to work your backside off and be able to come home and enjoy what you've earned. I've got now to enjoy. We need to be heard, we need to be seen, and we need to be believed.
Order number 74?
Yeah, I'm an anarchist and I pro shoplifting.
74?
I've sacrificed time with my friends to work. Most people my age work part-time just so that they can go on holidays and do extra stuff. I'm working part-time to support myself. I don't have time to work a full-time job. I just go straight from school to work. I'm not dropping out. That's not even an option. I want an education. I want to do a lot more than I'm doing right now. Being too old for social services, but too young for the full universal credit. My age holds me back from getting support. The fact that I'm in full-time education holds me back from getting support. It's, oh, get a job. I have a job. I've definitely matured. I've gotten louder. I talk a lot more. I tolerate things less because I've seen the way the world can be.
Yeah, you have the rage of the working class.
I want to study politics to hopefully become an MP, and I can fix the mess that this country is in. And I know a lot of people won't like that, and that's okay. I really couldn't care less. Because I don't want anyone else to grow up the way that I've had to. I'll be Prime Minister someday.
Or you will be the chief commissar of the Communist Party of Great Britain, Maoist.
The number of working adults living in poverty has risen 56% in 25 years.
Back in the day, my dad worked and my mum stayed at home and you had everything. And now, two people can work and you still can't even afford to put a meal on the table on a night time.
And they want to be heard.
It's like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and that's a very difficult cycle to break.
We're not just a number, we're people. You've either got it or you haven't. And I think those that have got it, they don't realise what it is to go without.
A government
That's not how you talk to your father, Potato.
spokesperson said, "We are providing £104 billion in cost of living support, worth on average £3,700 per household, including investing over £2 billion in the Household Support Fund to help those most in need, as well as boosting pensions."
And it's not doing shit. It's not doing a fucking thing. Why hundreds of police laptops and radios remain unused in Tempe? I'm surprised they haven't stolen them yet.
Our ABC 15 investigators broke the story. Hundreds of new police laptops just sitting in boxes, unused for years. More than $1 million wasted in tonight.
So they're fucking obsolete now. Lovely.
Investigator Nicole Grigg is back, and now she's speaking to an insider who says it's happening again.
We've been digging into problems within the Tempe Police Department for months, and we've just learned it's not just laptops. There's even more unused technology worth millions losing value, and that's coming from multiple sources, including the one you're about to hear from.
I worked there for 23 years.
This is a former Tempe police officer. He asked us to hide his face for fear of retaliation.
I was in the TSU.
Okay, this is wild. Like, whenever a whistleblower comes on television, like, I thought the police, well, I never actually thought this stupidity. I am a black man in America. But the narrative is that the police are here to protect and serve us. So this guy, former police, has to have his identity hidden. He has to have his face blurred. He can't come on camera. He can't be on television with his real face, and he has to have voice-changing technology so nobody recognizes him. Like, don't you all know that the cops have fucking gangs? That if you talk about them, or better yet, if you're within the police force, like, they will literally send these people after you and beat the fuck out of you. Again, we need a revolution. Like, that's the conclusion that all this shit comes to. We need a revolution. No more discourse. No more nothing. Revolution.
The technical services unit for about 9 years.
He believes his time in the technical services unit.
Oh my God, look at those fucking apartments. This looks like something I would build in Skylines and call Gentrification City.
Or basically, the IT department for officers is something the public needs to hear.
I tried to report some problems in the unit. And I tried to go through the proper channels, the chain of command, and I reported them to the city.
This insider says that even includes meetings with the city manager, Rosa Inchausti. But we'll get to that in a moment. First, back to those laptops.
More issues inside the Tempe Police Department.
We broke the story just a few weeks ago. 431 laptops delivered August 2019. Over $1 million worth sat for years. And now, sources say it's happening again with a new batch of laptops delivered in August 2023, sitting in this city warehouse. City records showing the new batch of computers cost $1.3 million.
Should it be taking this long to push this type of technology out?
No, I don't think so. This stuff this stuff is planned a year or two in advance. It's bought a year out. So both of those projects there should be planning and testing a year out, and then we should receive the goods. There should already be a pan in place. You should be able to image the computers, program the radios, and then maybe take a month or two to get them out into the field.
And this insider says it's more than laptops. The department also has hundreds of police radios sitting in a warehouse too. Records show the city council approved.
You probably don't even have Tempe, if I recall correctly, it's like a mid-sized city in Arizona. I don't know how many cops they have. Let's see. Tempe Police Department size, because you shouldn't need hundreds of fucking police radios and hundreds of laptops. They have 338 police officers, sworn police officers, and 142 civilian staff. So why the fuck do you need several hundred radios? What, you want 2 radios for each pig or something?
Approved a contract with Motorola back in
French fries, a burger, and a corn muffin.
October 2022 for 600 radios costing around $5 million.
600 radios for 332 cops.
You have all this $1 million of equipment not being used and not being put out into the field, to the detriment of the hardworking men and women of the Tempe Police Department and to the citizens whose money is being wasted.
This former officer says he filed a whistleblower complaint back in 2020. Unit might quit.
My work partner and I had a face-to-face meeting with the city manager and the deputy city manager in August.
This insider was the first to leave in a complete exodus of the TSU. All 4 TSU employees have resigned in the past 5 months. One of them sending this email to the entire department, writing, "Over the past 6 to 8 months, it became clear that my knowledge and experience were no longer valued as they once were."
Emotionally, it was difficult because
oh yeah, there's like a bunch of cops that have become whistleblowers. I think Frank Serpico from the NYPD is the most famous, but oftentimes it's because shit happens to them personally, and they know that people don't like cops, so they use this to fuck them over.
My team just wanted to do our job. We just wanted to, do the work, provide the tech to the people.
Oh yeah, cops are crooked. And it's 80 degrees outside.
We're less than 9 months out from a very big election, but unfortunately, if you live in the vast majority of US states, your vote is going to have next to no impact at all at the top of the ticket. But what if you moved somewhere it did? So today I'm going to focus on swing states, what they are, why you should move to one, and I'm going to pinpoint cities and neighborhoods in swing states where you can live in a great urban environment for an affordable price. Some of these places.
Oh, look at this old queen. That doesn't look like a nice urban environment, though. I wouldn't want to live in a place like that. It's too sterile.
I've never mentioned on this channel before. Some of them are places you might even want to stay after the election's over, and we're going to cover them all coming up next. This is...
Hey guys, I'm going to teach you how to gentrify, okay?
City Nerd, weekly content on cities and transportation. Viewer suggested topics, always welcome, and this one is viewer suggested, but I'm going to keep it anonymous. Just a quick disclaimer, the whole premise of this video assumes that you are a politically engaged voter who thinks that election outcomes actually matter. But I can totally understand sitting this one out. I mean, the parties and candidates are basically exactly the same. I mean, one wants to run a kleptocracy and pack the Supreme Court with Christian fundamentalists, and the other, I don't know, pass the biggest climate legislation in the nation's history. Who's to say there's any difference between these things?
And fuck you, you liberal piece of shit.
I was gonna do
this is why I hate liberals. They just have this fucking snort. Oh yeah, I understand, but the climate, and yeah, you guys are just ultra leftists, and you, I don't know, just put Marx down and come down to reality.
whole piece analyzing and defining what swing states are and quantifying how much leverage your vote has in different states. But honestly, if you follow this stuff at all, you know the same 6 to 8 states just pop up over and over. So do your own Googling if you're interested in knowing more. It's
not my job to educate you, okay? It's my job to teach you how to gentrify, yeah?
Not really my wheelhouse. Okay, let's get to the fun part, which is me recommending locations for you to move to in these states, assuming you care about things like walkability, bikeability, transit, and...
Do not go to Atlanta. Leave the Black Mecca alone. There's already enough problems with the local Uncle Toms without a bunch of fucking white Yankees moving down there.
Great urban amenities, which if you don't care about these things, I can't even imagine how you found my channel in the first place. Here's what I did. I went hunting for zip codes that have great walk score and
now he wants to take over fucking Philly.
Bike score ratings, access to great transit if we're looking at larger cities, have a reasonably affordable prevailing rent, and most importantly are gonna look cool when I drop into Street View. This wasn't all that straightforward. Things like walk and bike score can vary drastically within a zip code. So for each I selected a location that was roughly the population centroid of the zip code, just by eyeballing the aerial. For prevailing rent, I used the median rental price for each zip code from the...
Okay, this guy, he fancies himself super smart, like I know everything, I have a degree in urban planning, but he doesn't realize that, like, if these gentrifiers and hipsters and liberals like him watch this video, they're going to swarm into these cities. Atlanta, which is expensive as hell, Philly, which is increasingly expensive as hell, Durham, North Carolina, etc. And like this guy, his liberalism has rotted his brain. Like he doesn't understand cause and effect. All these hipsters see this shit. Like I see people talking about like how St. Louis is slept on. I want it to stay slept on. I like my city affordable. Okay? I don't like my city with the beautiful red bricks that have been painted over. Like they do that. They move to my city, and St. Louis is really, really well known for red brick. Because the clay here, I mean, we have two rivers that join just north of the city. Well, west. I'm bad with directions. It's funny because I represent Missouri in geographic B106. Anyways, but like we have really, really good river mud here. And that river mud makes really good bricks. Like whenever they tear down a house in St. Louis, they export the bricks to other cities like Philly, like Chicago, like Cincinnati, like Cleveland. Because a lot of cities like to build with this red brick. And I like my city. I like its culture. I like cheap Chinese food. I like Vest soda. I like all this shit. And this is working class culture. If these gentrifiers, if these $250,000, $300,000 kombucha magnets come to St. Louis, then our city is going to be a living fucking hell. Where are the working class going to live? That's what these people never ask. Like, if we all move in, if we swarm into working class neighborhoods, where are the people who made the city what it is? Where are they going to live? Let's just push them all out to North County or push them over into the Metro East. Yeah, no, later for this shit.
Ginormous data set I got from Dwellsy, and thanks to Dwellsy for that, as usual. So my MO here is going to be to find you something for under $2,000 a month, hopefully significantly under, that has great walkability and urban fabric, and great transit if it's a bigger city, and I aim to have good bikeability too. Important thing to note, if you were thinking about taking the advice in this video literally and actually moving to one of these states, just know that all of them have residency requirements for voting that can require a lead time of up to 6 months. So
I thought it was going to tell them to not go. Like, this is literally a hypothetical video. Don't go. Preserve these cities as they are. But that's what I get for putting my faith in a white liberal.
The clock is ticking. I hate to say do your own research, but you should check the residency requirements for the state you're interested in because...
Am I a fellow fan of Du Bois's Black Reconstruction in America? Well, first of all, I'm not a fan of books. If something is useful to the liberation of my people, then yes. And considering that Black Reconstruction in America is literally the Bible of the Reconstruction era political structure and economy, then yeah, I'm really a big... I like Black Reconstruction, and I encourage everybody to read it. And yes, Phoenix is an ugly city. The fact that people live in this fucking desert shithole is testament to man's arrogance.
I'm not going to do it for you. Also, I shouldn't have to say this, but I will anyway. I do recognize that most of us probably aren't the type of person who can pick up and move on a whim, even when the fate of the free world is at stake. But some of you might.
All right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm sorry. Ooh, a septum piercing. They definitely have a lot of good things to say. Let's see.
Hey guys, it's me, Seren, back with another video. So this video
Did you just say her name is fucking Syringe?
is, I know I just posted a video yesterday, my review video for Deli's cough pops, and you guys know I normally don't post videos in such quick succession, but I wanted to make this video really quick. It's kind of like a housekeeping kind of video, kind of yes, kind of no. So I've been getting a lot of requests to make a video on two topics, but I kind of feel like at the core of those topics is the same issue. The first is...
Let's see what the description says. No, black people actually can't put you on our backs and carry you to the promised land. Sorry, non-black people of color. I thought, like, for a while, I've been seeing BIPOC and NBPOC for a long time. I thought that BIPOC stood for bisexual people of color. And my first, like, neuron firing when I saw NBPOC thought that they were talking about non-binary people of color. Let's see what other videos she's had. PSA, just because you're a POC doesn't mean you're not anti-black. Oppression Olympics rant on the Fantastic Four reboot, microaggressions and anti-blackness. So about that Mad Max movie on microaggressions, blind spots, and white supremacist fantasies. Huh.
Is Peter Lang. Peter Lang is actually the, I want to say Asian American, not sure exactly like what country.
Chinese or Taiwanese. Lang is literally a Chinese name.
Police officer that shot and killed Akai Gurley. I have a video on Akai Gurley. I'll put it in the description box, and I'll also put it in the card thing, and there should be an eye in the right hand corner, so it should be there as well. So a lot of people have wanted me to do a video on Peter Lang's being sentenced and stuff, because like over 10,000 Asian Americans actually protested, saying that, you know, there are two victims, Akai Gurley and Peter Lang, and, you know, whatever. And a lot of people feel like, you know, that's anti-black, that's racist, coming from Asian Americans, you know, non-black POC. So they want me to talk about non-black POC and anti-blackness. So that's the first issue. And the second issue that a lot of people have wanted me to talk about is kind of this pushback against the kind of hyper visibility of, you know, black people talking about lack of diversity in the Oscars. And, you know, a lot of like non-black Latinos and Hispanics and Asians, you know, kind of saying like, well, what about us? Like, we don't get represented either. And like, why isn't anyone talking about us? And
why do people like, do you actually think that talking about shit makes it like better or something? Like around this whole rest in power discourse around Aaron Bushnell, like these imperialist universities have warped y'all's brains. Like the discourse trademark is, it's fucked y'all's heads up. Like talking about things does not change anything. You're talking about, oh, we're not represented at the Oscars. We don't, it's a microaggression. Like nobody gives a fuck. Nobody in power gives a fuck. Okay? Nobody in power gives a fuck. Do you know how you get representation? Do you know how you get power? Like, why are you begging white people to give you shit in the first place? Why are you, the only thing like an honest white person is going to tell you is like, bro, I don't owe you shit. Yeah, we stole your fucking land. Yeah, we had you guys as slaves. Yeah, we have civil rights, blah, 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 blah. Okay, like, talk to an honest fucking redneck and they'll tell you that. You all are so used to dealing with these soft, liberal white people who say the same shit that the redneck does, they just use diversity speak. Like, get together, organize, and conquer power. Quit asking these fucking people for things. Why are you begging your enemy for shit? Why are you begging your enemy for representation?
You know, this idea that Black people kind of have to do all the work for everyone, for all POC, even though Black is not synonymous with POC. Like, all people of color are not Black, you know? Like, all Black people are people of color, but all people of color are not Black. And, you know...
Oh, wow. Wow, what a bravo. What a deep insight, my good sister. Bravo.
It's not a Black person's job to kind of like put the weight of all POCs on our shoulders and like carry y'all to the promised land.
Nobody is asking us to do that.
Which Corinthia, Mickey Kendall, actually ended up making a hashtag on Oscar night called Not Your Mule, where she...
Making a hashtag. There's Black people in fucking slavery in Africa as we speak. There's Black people that are starving to death, dying from disease, getting murdered by the police. And all you could do is make a fucking hashtag and be annoying about it.
She basically was saying, you know, like, it's not the job of Black people to do the work for you. I actually have some tweets that I wanted to read you guys.
Oh my God, she's printed out tweets.
Because basically somebody said that Not Your Mule hashtag is divisive. You know, it's divisive.
It is.
And some other Asian chick on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is also, you know, I've spoken about how that show is also fucking racist against Black people, said something about how she didn't like how Chris Rock's speech spoke specifically about Black people. Chris Rock's Black. He's Black. So, of course, he's going to talk about Black people. It's okay for Black people to talk about Black issues.
And why are these people never talking about the working class? Like, they always talk about these multi-millionaire celebrities. Fuck Chris Rock. Fuck Will Smith. Fuck half these people are fucking Zionists. Like, why are we using sports figures and musicians and fucking comedians? Like, a fucking comedian is not the voice of reason for Black people. A comedian's job is to be funny. If your people let a comedian speak for them seriously, politically, then there's a serious fucking problem. We have this celebrity worship. Like, celebrities are not going to lead us to liberation. Celebrities don't give a shit about anything but themselves.
Specifically, like, we don't have to put the whole POC community on our backs, like I said, and carry y'all to the promised land.
So what is the natural conclusion of this discourse? Okay, it's going to end up like harming solidarity. Like, okay, I am not your mule. First of all, nobody's treating Black people like mules. But you say that, oh, I'm not your mule. So you're looking at almost 40,000 people that have been murdered in Palestine, and that's your conclusion. I am not your mule. So this is selfishness. Like, we are not going to liberate ourselves by thinking like white people think, okay? We are not going to liberate ourselves that way. That selfishness, that lack of solidarity. Like, do you all realize that the only reason that we haven't had a revolution in this country, like Black people, brown people, Asian people, working class people, we've been ready to go. It's been working class white people who had that I am not your mule shit. Like, they invented that stuff. Quit trying to rehash white people shit. Like, they would expect us to come to their strikes, but whenever we went out on strike, there was like, oh, that's a Black thing. Well, they obviously didn't say Black. They said the other word, but that's a Black thing. I'm not losing my job for no fucking Blacks. So you're basically emulating and aping the oppressor and carrying out the same atrocious activities that have inhibited, that have stopped the development of the revolution in the United States. Can't do it. I understand, like, catharsis. It's cool. Catharsis. Raging at your enemy. It's cool. Okay, I get it. But it's not the revolution. Amilcar Cabral said that we are not going to defeat imperialism by shouting insults at it. We're not going to defeat imperialism, racism, anti-Blackness, all of these bad things by making hashtags about them. It makes you feel like you've done something. All those likes, those retweets, yeah, they feel damn good, don't they? But at the end of the day, Black people are still suffering. Black people are still living in Cancer Alley. Black people are still dying at ripe young ages because of capitalism and imperialism and the lingering effects of what was done to us and our ancestors. And the only way that you can stop that is through revolutionary violence, is through organizing, establishing a revolutionary party, and behaving in a concerted fashion to topple the system. You're not going to defeat imperialism with the hashtag. I'm sorry, my friend.
Like, POC, non-Black POC have to do the work for themselves. You have to do the work just like we're doing the work for ourselves.
What work are you doing? You're making hashtags.
And when Oscar So White first started circulating, there was some pushback against it for this exact reason. And the creator, Reign of April, at Reign of April on Twitter, she actually said, like, the hashtag is Oscar So White. Like, the hashtag doesn't even have anything to do with Black people. You guys are, like, projecting your own, like, anti-Blackness onto us. So back to the tweets anyway.
How is it Oscars so white? The Oscars are fucking white. Like, these people see anti-Blackness in a bouquet of roses. And the thing is, like, these squabbles, like, these are not among working class people. These squabbles are among various segments of the radical petty bourgeoisie.
So somebody has said, what does I'm troubled by Corinthia's hashtag not your mule. What does POC really mean in media activism? Let's have that debate and see where it goes.
Media activism?
There's no debate. Why does it have to be a debate? I replied, I said POC is not synonymous with Black. Black people are allowed to fight for Black rights specifically. Other POC can and should speak for themselves. Corinthia said, you want representation. Everyone has to work for it, not just hang out and wait for Black activists to take the risks. And this is something that we see over and over again. We see non-Black POC kind of just hanging back and waiting for Black people to do the work and then kind of building off of what we have already done. You saw Black Lives Matter get turned into Muslim Lives Matter. You know, you saw Oscar So White get turned into Oscar So Male. You know, you see, this is something that's common. It's been common throughout history. You see it with the co-opting of, you know, the Black Power fist and the Civil Rights Movement getting used for like gay, not terminology is not the right word, but images, icons, like iconography, is that the word I want? You know, you see Black people do things and create things just like always, and it kind of gets co-opted, and, you know, people kind of build off the work that we do instead of doing their own work. And the whole point of Not Your Mule is, you know, we don't have to do the work for you. You have to do the work for yourself, which I have discussed in other videos, which is why I said that this is kind of a housekeeping video, because basically people want me to make videos about symptoms when I actually have some videos that already exist on the disease, and the disease is internalized anti-Blackness in POC. I have a whole video called PSA.
Okay, I can't listen to this fucking mush anymore.
Palantir is one of the
This looks interesting.
newer sweethearts of Wall Street bets and retail investors worldwide, and for good reason. It's a cheap stock and a polarizing, highly secretive business whose majority of market share comes from selling software to the government's, defense, and intelligence sectors. Palantir was founded by the contrarian Peter Thiel and features a mysterious, borderline cultish CEO in Alex Karp, whose habits and work routines and willingness to speak up about the status quo makes him a radical compared to others in Silicon Valley. But beyond the memes, let's take a look at how Palantir operates as a business. Along the way, we can learn about how much money there is to be made selling to agencies like the CIA, and how much profit there can be as a company that sells software to the greater military-industrial complex. So Palantir sells two software products. Their first product is called Gotham, which is a tool built for analysts at defense and intelligence agencies. Gotham helps analysts find patterns in large data sets. One of the early inspirations for Gotham was that in the initial invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq in the early 2000s, US soldiers had to map the intelligence they got out of insurgents and roadside bombers by hand on pen and paper. Gotham is designed to address that need by allowing analysts to put all their data together, from confidential informants to intelligence reports, and then find the patterns and visualize these large data sets within a computer.
You horny motherfuckers in chat, like, this girl is pushing out the most idiotic liberal mush, and all you can do is, hey, she's so pretty. They're gonna send a fucking FBI agent to your house and or to your fucking protest, and you won't know because you're too busy drooling. Like, you know that they could go through your Facebook likes or your Twitter posts and find out what type of person that you like sexually, and they will literally send an agent that matches that exact profile to you, right? Publicly horny is no good. Am I a horny motherfucker? Yes, but you'll never know. Well, actually, you'll know because I just told you, but regardless, that's not your business.
Same challenges of making sense of large data sets and finding patterns exist not just in the defense and intelligence sector, but also in the private sector. Palantir's second product is Foundry, which is a version of Gotham that's designed for the private sector, for private companies that are not military, government, or intelligence. Yet despite having these two products, Palantir is a very military and intelligence-centric business. It holds a very different philosophical view from regular tech companies. Palantir makes it very clear that they have no business in collecting, mining, or selling data. All the data that customers bring and use within Palantir's products are self-contained, whether it's Foundry or Gotham, all that data belongs to the customer. Palantir is focused on helping these companies or organizations centralize these large data sets from their existing tools and doing analysis on this entire bucket together. Palantir also has a very unique design when it comes to their software. Most tech companies today have a rip and replace walled garden mindset. Probably the most famous example of this is Apple. The goal of these modern tech companies is to get you to tear out what you already have today and use their software or hardware exclusively, and then make it hard for you to switch back to your old tools if things get wonky with your new setup. Think like Google Chrome and Safari, iPhone and Android, and so forth. But Palantir takes a very different view. Their software is designed and meant to integrate with existing legacy IT products. That means that whether you're a defense company, an intelligence agency, military, or a private company, you can maintain your key historic investments. You don't have to rebuild your entire data infrastructure and redo everything from scratch if you want to use Palantir's products. This is a really radical take compared to, say, Snowflake, as we covered in an earlier episode.
Snowflake. Liberal Snowflake. They probably named it that on purpose. This mapping system is cool and I love the tech, but it's only serving to help imperialists kill civilians. Many such cases indeed. As a matter of fact, the tech industry is like the fourth or fifth arm of the military-industrial complex. We shouldn't talk about a military-industrial complex anymore. We should talk about a military-industrial tech complex.
Where Snowflake's story is totally different. Snowflake's story is that your historic data and infrastructure is no good. You have to get on ours if you want to get anywhere. Palantir is an extremely unorthodox company, both in its structure and business from the numbers. Given its extreme focus on defense and intelligence, Palantir has a very small market to target as an enterprise software company, but they also have a larger upside on paper. Palantir only has 125 to 200 customers to date, but each customer on average spends about $5.6 million, which is massive. We can get a sense from just these numbers how lucrative and rich the American military-industrial complex is. Since Palantir by nature is a politically charged business and its products are so sensitive, the company by design and intent only sells to the US and its allies. Regardless of your own personal views and political perspectives, there are really only a handful of intelligence and defense agencies in the West that fit under this view. In the US alone, there are only 16 intelligence agencies, with the most well-known and well-funded.
Why the fuck do we have 16 intelligence agencies? 16 intelligence agencies. It reminds me of the fucking Black Panthers when they would rob a bank. No, the Black Liberation Army, when they would rob a bank, they couldn't rob it because they ran into another group of robbers from a different fucking cell, and like they basically robbed the same bank in the same day. Like, this is ludicrous. Central Security Service, National Reconnaissance Office, Defense Intelligence Agency, Military Intelligence Corps, Office of Intelligence and Counterintelligence, Marine Corps Intelligence, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. You know what they're doing in my city? They literally demolished an entire historic neighborhood, and they're building a facility here in St. Louis. Office of Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, Intelligence Branch of the FBI.
Today being the CIA.
Office of National Security Intelligence.
FBI.
Office of Intelligence and Analysis. Space Delta 7. So the Space Force is only a few years old and they already have a thoroughly developed intelligence apparatus? That's crazy.
And the NSA. And it's not like these Western countries or even the US, we come up with new intelligence agencies all the time. It's been these 16 agencies for a very long period of time. If we compare Palantir to the mainstream enterprise software.
Hey, the black budget. So all this money is going to black people? I want to be part of the black budget. I want some money.
For companies, even the same ones that IPO'd in the same year as Palantir, you can see that the private sector is a totally different animal. For instance, Snowflake has over 3,000 customers with an average spend of $160,000. Datadog, which is another analysis and monitoring company, has 8,000 customers, but their average spend is only about $37,000. So Palantir's average customer, who spends $5.6 million as an intelligence agency, is spending 35 times more than your average private company. And so as Americans, even though we don't get the same exact visibility into the funding for America's intelligence agencies, the average $5.6 million spent on Palantir software should give you a sense for just how much of Americans' taxpayers' money is possibly allocated to the overall military-industrial complex. Now, Palantir's customer base is split 50-50 across both the public and the private sectors, but all reports so far indicate that public sector customers outspend the private sector customers. To me, where the numbers get really interesting is when we remove the political aspects and evaluate Palantir as a bare bones.
Can you click slow? You know what? Fuck you. Click slower. I'm almost 30 years old. I'm sensitive. You fucking bounce all over the place. Let's see what's going on in this fucking mongrel hole. Somewhere in the U.S., a working-class white dude and a working-class black non-binary person and a half-Filipino, half-black gay dude and a working-class middle-aged Latino woman are chilling at a bar and talking shit, and they don't even know the stupid discourse of the week exists. They're not fighting over rest and power or Mataz being anti-black or any of this other shit. They're friends because they like each other. They grew up together and work together. Normal people don't trip off this stupid shit. Be normal. You can really tell the grant money for working Hasbara into the black community is at play now. This guy is probably sitting in some Unit 8200 command center in occupied Palestine posting this shit. What shit? No, what's out of pocket is leeching off our culture for your BS movements. I wouldn't call stopping genocide a BS movement. Use your own phrases and leave us alone. Well, the American flag in their bio kind of tells it all. Damn, if you want to sacrifice yourself for some white Arabs, go ahead, but leave our culture out of it. And see, this discourse, it's always culture, phrases, nothing hard, nothing tangible. What about weapons? What about political power? BRG always tells the truth. That's why you all are sitting here on a Tuesday afternoon watching me. We're extremists, but you hostile and racist immigrants abuse the police to kill and harm black Americans. We're not doing that. You're more bent out of shape from some words from a black person telling the truth than the racist white identifying immigrants when he gets taken out. Yeah, this is an op. He's definitely some type of Fed or other weirdo. It's 81 degrees outside. I should not be wearing shorts in February in the Midwest. But here we are. Wet Bob gonna fuck us all up. So y'all gonna say rest in power when Clarence Thomas dies? I will not have you, like, disrespecting this dark-skinned, like, Gullah Geechee man, like, that literally grew up in the Jim Crow South, like, just because he has bad politics. Maybe Cop City will finally eradicate you. This person can't even spell. Not you, Cosmic Slop, if you somehow stumble across this. But, yeah, Cosmic is right. Don't use rest in power for non-black people. Are you serious? Shut the fuck up. And this individual, who may or may not be black, says that, well, maybe Cop City will finally eradicate you, dumbass, blah. Black Red Guard, unrelated question, but do you plan to stay in DSA for life? What is it, a gang? Yeah, I got beat up, and now I can't leave the gang because, no. It doesn't work like that. Yes, I do plan on being in DSA for quite a long time. I've met a lot of good comrades there, but ideally, we struggle towards the creation of a communist party. I also did not join the Democratic Socialists of America to wreck it or work up splits. BRG, when will you make a proletariat army if you hate the imperialism so much? The fuck do I look like? Life isn't like a fucking video game, bro. I can't just go around being like, yeah, hey, want to join my proletariat army? I would be in prison before the end of the day. Remember, this is how people who get paid to disrupt our movements act. It doesn't matter if they're paid or not. This is counter-revolutionary behavior. So this, if I recall correctly, is from an OSS, the predecessor of the CIA. They did a manual on how to disrupt movements and other things. 2, make speeches. Talk as frequently as possible and at great length. Illustrate your points by long anecdotes and accounts of personal experiences. Never hesitate to make a few appropriate patriotic comments. Press X to join the people. Bring up irrelevant issues as frequently as possible. Haggle over precise wordings. Refer back to matters decided upon. Be worried about the propriety of any decision. So yeah. If you act like this, you are engaging in pig work. When these folks say listening to black people, what they really mean is that you must listen to me. Because they aren't listening to even other black people. Like, there are almost 2 billion black people on the face of the earth. Okay, 2 billion black people. We have opinions that range from fascism to communism to liberalism to conservatism to all sorts of shit. Same thing, I always flip when people are like, oh, you know more than 19 million Chinese Communist Party members? I'm like, bruh, there's almost 2 billion Chinese people. People of Chinese descent. A person that was raised in Hong Kong will have a radically different opinion and political experience than somebody that's raised in San Francisco, say. And yes, read Sakai's Basic Politics of Movement Security. It's genuinely amazing and interesting how the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine and Hamas immediately welcomed Bushnell's contribution to the resistance in the middle of fighting the genocidal entity, a truly popular front. The Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine expresses its full solidarity with the family of Aaron Bushnell and with all the American sympathizers. The act of an American soldier sacrificing himself for Palestine is the highest sacrifice and a medal, and a poignant message to the American administration to stop its involvement in the aggression. The PFLP affirmed that the act of the American soldier Aaron Bushnell from the U.S. Air Force, by setting himself on fire in front of the Zionist embassy in Washington, D.C. in protest against the war in Gaza, which he called for the liberation of Palestine, confirms a state of anger among the American people due to the official American involvement in the Zionist genocide war being waged on the Gaza Strip. It also indicates that the status of the Palestinian cause, especially in American circles, is becoming more deeply entrenched in the global conscience and reveals the truth of the Zionist entity as a cheap colonial tool in the hands of savage imperialism. The front expressed its full solidarity with the soldier's family and all the American sympathizers who took an honorable stance and who struggle and pressure to stop the genocide on the Strip have not ceased, confirming that the act of an American soldier sacrificing his life to draw the attention of the American people and its world to the plight of the Palestinian people, despite its tragic nature and the great pains it involves, is considered the highest sacrifice and medal, and is the most important, poignant message directed to the American administration, that it is involved in the war crime in Gaza, and that the American people have awakened and are rejecting this American involvement, calling on the American administration to stop the support and bias for this Zionist entity. The front sent a message to the Arab soldier to take this American soldier who sacrificed his life for a noble cause, like the Palestinian cause, as an example and role model, and to leave the trenches of waiting and capacity and move to the trench of confrontation in support of Palestine and its people who are being slaughtered, besieged, and starved in full view and hearing of the world in just a few kilometers from Arab lands and meters from the borders. Palestine will be victorious as long as it has deeply engraved itself in the conscience and consciences of the world. And history will record in golden letters the names of all sympathizers and free people of the world who stood with it and sacrificed their lives for its sake via Resistance News Network. Highly recommend you check them out on Telegram and follow them. Hamas says, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, we in the Islamic resistance movement, Hamas, express our heartfelt condolences and our full solidarity with the family and friends of the American pilot, Aaron Bushnell, whose name has been immortalized as a defender of humanitarian values and the plight of the oppressed Palestinian people who are suffering due to the U.S. administration and its unjust policies, like the American activist Rachel Corrie, who was crushed by a Zionist bulldozer in 2003 in Rafah, the same city for which Bushnell paid for with his life to pressure his country and his government to prevent the criminal Zionist army from attacking it and committing massacres and violations in it. The administration of U.S. President Joe Biden bears full responsibility for the death of the American military pilot Aaron Bushnell due to its policy that supported the Nazi Zionist entity in its genocide war against our Palestinian people, as he gave his life in order to highlight the massacres and Zionist ethnic cleansing against our people in the Gaza Strip. The heroic pilot Aaron Bushnell will remain immortal in the memory of our Palestinian people and the free people of the world, and a symbol of the spirit of global humanitarian solidarity with our people and their just cause. The tragic incident that cost pilot Bushnell his life is an expression of the growing anger among the American people who reject their country's policy that contributes to the killing and genocide of our people and rejects their government's violation of global humanitarian values by providing cover to ensure the impunity of the entity and its leaders from punishment and accountability. Islamic Resistance Movement, Hamas, Monday, 16 Shaban, 1445. Corresponding 26th February 2024. So this was issued yesterday. So this is what the literal Palestinian resistance thinks of this. So all these people that are talking about, oh, you can't say rest in power, he's not black, are dumb. Learn from Hamas. Yes, learn from Hamas.
This episode and others like it are brought to you by the generous support of my patrons on Patreon. Get some cool perks and help support the show by becoming...
And also I'm obligated to say that if you are considering self-immolation, don't. Okay, like that's an extremely painful way to die. If you are considering following in Comrade Bushnell's footsteps, okay, that was him. That was him, okay? And if you have a comrade or a friend or a person who's like literally thinking about this, you need to like try to talk them out of it. I don't want to hear about one of my friends burning themselves alive. Do I still respect greatly what Aaron did? Yes, it's changed the discussion in this country. But at the same time, like, we need our comrades here. You are of much greater efficacy as a living, breathing person. You are of much greater use to the Palestinian people as a living, breathing person than you are as a symbol. Do we need martyrs? Do we need symbols? Yes. But should each and every one of us become a martyr? No. Take the precious few martyrs that we have. Take their example. That was a call to us. Okay? I'm not going to be so arrogant as to assume Comrade Bushnell's intention, but I don't think he intended for us all to burn ourselves alive. Okay? I don't think he did.
Becoming a patron at patreon.com/secondthought. I also recently launched a new channel dedicated to the nuts and bolts of making a living as a creative. If that sounds like something you'd enjoy, you can check it out at the link below.
Damn, you reminded me I need to get a fucking actual camera.
All right, I'm back with the lo-fi setup again. This is one of those topics where I don't want to be a professional presenter. I just want to talk to you as a human being who's been watching the worst images I've seen in my life over the past few months and try to work through some of it. On October 7th, 2023, the Palestinian resistance took the fight to the Israeli...
Isn't this guy from Texas? He has no accent at all. Why are young white Southerners like losing their accents? That's always something that's fascinated me.
...occupation and knocked the wind out of him a little bit. For those who somehow aren't aware of the situation in Gaza, the Palestinian people have been subjected to a brutal and genocidal occupation for 3/4 of a century. It's a long story, and if you'd like to hear more of it, we put out a First Thought analysis episode a while back that covers the history of Israel and the beginning of their ethnic cleansing campaign. We also did a deprogram episode with the wonderful people who run decolonizepalestine.com, and another good resource is Ilan Pappé's book, The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine. Pappé is an Israeli historian.
The Martyr Aaron Bushnell Brigades. Well, I don't know. I think we would have to like get to the point where we can establish brigades in the first place. You all are putting the cart before the horse. Like educational work and stuff like that is more important than like LARPing and fetishizing about shit that's going to happen 50 or 60 years from now. We're not in the point where we can establish brigades right now. Come on.
So before you go accusing me of...
JT doesn't talk like a No Country for Old Men character. It's over. The West is falling.
Only suggesting pro-Palestine sources, maybe give that one a read. You can find all these things linked in the description. For those who can't be bothered, here's a very short summary of what led up to this point. As anti-Semitism flared up in Europe in the midst of the world wars, we also saw the development of the political Zionist movement, which was basically a push to establish a Jewish ethno-state somewhere in the world. That should have been the first red flag. Ethno-states aren't generally a good thing. You might be surprised to learn that Palestine was not the only option on the list. There were multiple other locations considered, on different continents, and all of those places were already occupied. As the
Madagascar.
evil of fascism.
I think Rwanda or somewhere in the Great Lakes region of Africa was considered too.
Threatened Jewish people in Europe, and to a lesser extent, the rest of the world, political Zionism won a certain amount of perceived legitimacy, especially among the British elite. In 1948, with the violent support of the British military, the State of Israel was founded on stolen Palestinian land.
And the Zionists eventually turned around and fucked the British in the ass. One thing they're good at is like playing people off each other.
And it's important to note here that stolen land doesn't mean unoccupied space. It's not like the locals were going, "Ooh, you stole my empty patch of dirt." No. The European invaders forcibly seized critical farmland, port cities.
That would be Uganda. I wonder what Idi Amin would think of that.
Stretches of coastline, places that were occupied and served a vital role in Palestinian life. Of course, all of this was perfectly legal according to very official pieces of paper, so the colonists could wave off the atrocities they committed to claim the land. One of these documents, UN Resolution 181, gave the settlers 55% of the land, which is made even more absurd by the fact that the UN had no legal right to do so and did not consult with the Palestinian people before adopting the resolution. Unsurprisingly, they were pissed and war broke out. What followed is today known as the Nakba, or catastrophe. Between 1947 and
which was committed by labor Zionists and so-called socialists, by the way.
1949, some 750,000 Palestinians were expelled from their ancestral home. The Zionists seized 78% of historic Palestine, ethnically cleansed and bulldozed over 500 villages and cities, and killed at least 15,000 Palestinians in the process. Today, settlers who were there at the time laugh about the atrocities they committed on camera.
עומדת כיתה של זה עם ידיים למעלה, אז
I remember this asshole.
באותו יום הייתי רואה אותה, הייתי קוצר את כולם, עד כדי כך.
כמה אתה חושב אנשים הרגת ככה?
לא ספרתי. אני לא יכול לדעת בחיי. היה לי מקלע עם 250 כדורים. ותראה, יריתי, נלחמתי כולם. אני לא יכול לספור.
Years from now, students will write papers comparing the Holocaust and the Nakba, and the racial animus that drove both genocides. And a lot of liberals currently both siding this genocide will nod very seriously and say, "We just didn't know how bad it was." Just like the good Germans did back in the 40s.
How can you not know how bad it is when it's literally being live streamed and beamed over your Twitter account every fucking day? Like you're not seeing it because you're willfully ignorant. Just like the good white people in the South. It's like, oh, we didn't know what was going on the plantations. We didn't know. We heard screams, we heard whips and whatnot, but we didn't know what was going on over at old Mr. Everett's place. I didn't know he was touching them dockets like that.
It was bullshit then, and it's bullshit now. A lot of people think that the Nakba ended in 1948. It didn't. That was just the first major escalation of a campaign of complete extermination that continues to this day. When you see the Twitter posts saying things like, "There was a ceasefire on October 6th, realize that the people saying those things are either ignorant, in which case you can help them by providing resources, or are actively trying to obfuscate the truth. We know Israel has an army of paid posters to disseminate propaganda and shut down criticism online. Since the day the first European colonists set foot in Palestine, there has been a non-stop stream of crimes committed in the name of the political Zionist project.
Very true, JT. So apparently, Aaron Bushnell, like there's a couple degrees of separation from like me and him. I never met the guy, but this is a group called Serve the People Akron. That he worked with. Here we go. Yeah. So I would highly recommend you, if you're in the area, work with them in solidarity. But yeah, you work with them. There's pictures of them at their servings. But yeah, they're in the Maoist tradition. So apparently he wasn't all that sectarian of a Maoist. But yeah, good guy. Good guy. I've resolved to stop talking so much shit about anarchists. Because, like, they've made the sacrifice. They've made the sacrifices that many of us who fancy ourselves want to be commissars and shit haven't. Never forget Castro spamming the Euro step so much it made Che Guevara question his commitment to the revolution. Journal entry by Che Guevara, December 12th, 1962. In his frequent basketball matches, Fidel has started using a new move he simply calls the step. It is undeniably effective, yet is its goodness equally undeniable? As revolutionaries, we must not merely pay attention to ends, but to means. I worry that this flash and pomp is not befitting of the revolutionary leader. It serves to separate him too much from those caught in the chains of a maudlin life, marred by oppression and economic strife. Yes, it leads to a basket, but at what cost to the communal spirit? I think I might play a game tomorrow. I haven't gamed in a while. I've been focusing mainly on news and my own analysis of shit. What game would you all like to see me play? I mainly play city builders and like real-time strategy games. I need to broaden my horizons. I still play the same types of games that I did when I was a kid. Metal Gear Solid, 1998. But yeah, Comrade Ohio says, we are devastated in Akron, Ohio with the rest of the world. Grassroots Org serves the people Akron made a public post on Instagram about Aaron Bushnell, who recently had moved to Northeast Ohio, serving at Akron and Grace Park. So, tribute. Oh yeah, you want to see some more skylines? Of course you do, generic urbanism channel. I hate Age. I hate Age 4. I refuse to play it. I played it for like a half hour once, and then I touch it again. Yesterday, Aaron Bushnell self-immolated in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. in protest to the ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people. Aaron was a valued member of our organization and the community who immediately jumped in to help the unhoused in any project that came up. He was dependable and persistent with the mutual aid work he did in a city that was still new to him. We will be forever grateful for the effort he put in to make Akron a better place. We are all still devastated to learn of his passing, but we do not want his actions to be in vain. Please continue your education, advocacy, and support for the Palestinian people. I don't want to play no fucking zombie apocalypse game. What's wrong with y'all? I'm sensitive. You try to give me nightmares. You know what? I haven't played Civ in a while. I think I'll treat y'all to a game of Civ today. See if I get my ass kicked. Time for disasters. I'll be back. I need a smoke. I'm going to be playing as Sundiata Keita, one of the many storied leaders of medieval Mali. I will be back in 5 minutes.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest. From this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. Sundiata Keita, Lion of Mali, your griots sing your praises. You rose from humble beginnings to fulfill the prophecy of your people. You were a hunter and a magician. Now the time has come to be a king. Bring Mali from its humble beginnings to the empire it is destined to be.
I'm back. Alright, time to kick some European ass. Ooh, lovely. Pretty. I don't want to build on a coast. You can be right there. I'm inspiring you to try quitting cigarettes again. You should. Cigarettes are very bad for you. They take your wind away. You can't run. I haven't quit. Why do you think I keep leaving? We all must have one vice, and there's far worse vices I can have. Y'all remember that chick that did, like, she uploaded a video to Twitter of her, like, railing a line of meth or something? That was Discourse for like a week. Why would you record yourself doing some shit like that? It's like, oh, I have powers of self-destruction. No, I have not played the game China Mao's Legacy.
I thought Clay must feel happy.
Cuba invented a vaccine for lung cancer. It's good. Maybe I should go down there and get it. Then I could smoke all the tobacco I want. I could even pick up a cigar habit. I could even smuggle cigars back into the United States and make a shitload of money. I need to develop sailing so I can get this amber. People like rare luxury resources. A little bit of luxury never hurt anybody.
At his best, man is the noble.
Gotta get foreign trade because I am playing as Mali after all. It's an economic civ. You can play as the Inca Empire in this game, actually.
If there are no dogs in heaven.
Oh, shit. I meant to invent sailing. Oh, well. Oh, fuck off. I hope the Turks are here to fuck you in the ass. Fucking Byzantine bastard with your stupid crown and your cotton armor, you piece of shit, you. Hate Byzantines. If they had spent more time developing their productive forces and their material conditions. Oh, this is my girl. I hope the Vietnamese and the Byzantines fight. I want to join on the side of the Vietnamese. If the Byzantines had spent more time developing their material conditions and their productive forces and less time murdering their emperors, they might have been able to hold off the Turks. Of course, I will develop diplomatic relations with the Socialist Republic of Vietnam.
Who deserves more credit than the wife?
We can have one mine. The Ottomans are the true successors of Rome. No, actually, that would have been the Russian word Tsar is actually derived from a Slavicization of Caesar. So I guess you could say that Nicholas II was the actual last heir of the Roman Empire. It is fitting that the last guy to go. Ew.
Jag är Kristinas.
Fuck Sweden.
Welcome to the
Oh,
United States of America.
Oh my god. They put all the fuck boys and fuck girls in this game. No, I'm not telling the Americans my capital. And nobody gives a shit about Bulgaria. I wonder what the Romans would have thought about that. I think the Romans called the region that's currently Bulgaria Pannonia.
Without craftsmanship.
Destroy Yankee.
Vessels large may venture more.
Go get that amber, my boy. Alright. Time to build another city before the rest of these motherfuckers gobble up all the good land. And I gotta go to war. Might as well start getting my army together right now. Because I see Byzantines and I see Americans. I don't want any fucking apple pies. Fuck off, Teddy. I will be your friend. Would have been a lot better if you were Ho Chi Minh.
Thousands have lived without love.
You are my friend, Vietnam. I will protect you. You are an insistent motherfucker, aren't you? Fine.
I like to say I practice militant.
Bulgaria was Thrace and Moesia. Motherfuckers, we got motherfuckers in here with an encyclopedic knowledge of Roman history. I will be friends with the Armenians. Mali will be the shield of the oppressed.
Writing is easy.
Oh, the Chinese are backing up the Myanmar resistance. That's good. They are very good at picking the winning team. Like, that's... Like, it's funny as fuck. Like, they'll make grand proclamations, but at the same time, they'll be trading with both sides. That's all the Chinese care about, money. Mao would not like that very much, but Mao is dead, and the Chinese government doesn't take his ideology very seriously anymore. They basically turned him into fucking George Washington. A dark age. Ooh. Yeah, even the Vatican got involved. Even the Vatican got involved. Well, no. The Pope did bless the bombs that Mussolini was dropping on the Ethiopians, so they were always involved. I mean, the Papal States were a thing. They controlled a substantial portion of Italy for centuries, so I guess you could say that the Pope has always been involved.
May the forces of evil become confused.
Had his dirty little pervert fingers and dirty little pervert pies. See, Byzantium has already acted up. Imperialists. Imperialists all. Never trust a Greek. Never trust a Greek. want to be your friend, lady. Don't curse me out. Hello, BRG. The Pope is quite the little imperial colonial extraordinaire. You talk about the Pope is the fucking OG at all this shit. This is boring me. I'm going to play something else. I'm going to play something else. Fucking, my ADHD doesn't let me lock in like I want to. I haven't drank enough coffee. What can I lock into? I don't want to play China Mao's Legacy. It sounds old. I play First Sign Al-Aqsa, the Knights of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, but I'm pretty sure that would get me banned. I don't want to drink more coffee. I'll be up all night. Oh, Tropico. Let's try that. There we go. I think I can lock into this. Mobutu, the president of Zaire, made a law stating that TV in Zaire cannot mention anybody but him by name. He also commanded that all evening news begin with the scene of him descending from the heavens. Dictators are wild. And, of course, the United States backed all these people. Mobutu, that asshole Trujillo in the Dominican Republic, Papa Doc, every shitty person that has, like, ever done shitty things, the United States is backed at one time or another. All the good people the United States has tried to kill. If there's one thing you should learn about history, it's that. Why did you keep zooming out? Stop it, you sensitive fuck. You go where I tell you to go. There you go. All right, let's get some plantations going. See what we're working with. Build another one of these because I don't want construction problems. Also, an early game, like, you have to be really careful you don't, like, invest all of your money. You have to, like when I reach 100 grand, I'm going to stop building. Because it's very easy to go bankrupt in this game. As those who have watched me play Tropico can attest. Play literally any game that isn't a city builder or a strategy game. These are games that teach very important skills that will be necessary for the administration of a socialist republic. How the fuck does killing monsters and fighting zombies prepare you to administer communism? Answer me that, potato salad god. You know what? You're being a very, very bad, unruly son. I don't know what's up with you. You're very disrespectful to your father. I created you. I created all of you. And you have been very naughty. As Yaqub, I'm devastated. You all have enslaved the original man. You've done colonialism. You've made nuclear weapons. Like, you guys are bad. Badass fucking kids. That's what white people are. Humanity's children. This is Tropico. You're basically like the leader of this island in the Pacific. And it's like a city builder / nation builder. Very fun. I recommend you play. What do you all want me to do? Like run around chopping up monsters and shit? How is that preparing to build socialism? That's escapism. Communists do not engage in escapism. Let's go with 2 months at OGBRG. Thank you for that, Cole Farah. How generous. So, I'm a big fan of crop diversity. In my George Washington Carver arc, you know, a lot of the Caribbean islands have been, like, ruined by monoculture. Like, there's one island that grows nothing but fucking cotton. There's one island that grows nothing but tobacco. Like, that ruins the soil. So I'm a big fan of building a very diversified base so that if one thing gets fucked up, you can always go to another. That is how you build communism. Mao actually told Fidel, like, he needs to diversify his economy into, like, something besides sugar, and Fidel ignored him, as he did a lot of other things that he did not wish to hear. He had a very strong capacity for Delulu. Fidel did. Still the goat, but a Delulu goat. He also made fun of Mao for being old. Jesus, how do I even remember all this shit? What dead communist leaders said to each other 70 fucking years ago. Oh, I'm just a nerd. Is there nickel on the island so I can make weapons to defend my island from imperialists? I hope so. There's another island over here. All right. I think that's quite enough. Build some more houses. Because I don't want homeless people on my island, and I don't think my people want to be homeless. Homeless people engage in rebellions, and I don't want rebellions on my island. It is right to rebel against everybody except BRG. I'm going to diversify my game library, don't worry. I don't think you all just want to see me play Tropico for 5 hours. Oh yeah, Teamsters are critical. If you don't have enough Teamsters, or if you mistreat your Teamsters, your exports will not go where they're supposed to go, and your island will go quickly broke. And of course, I'm going to eventually declare independence, so I need a strong military. So I'm going to start spamming forts. Have a pirate cove, of course. Pirates are based. Shout out to my Yemeni boys. Zionists have to live in a place with no mirrors because they're all ugly as fuck. honestly, like, these people, like, from what I've seen, Zionists are, like, literally mentally ill. Like, I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm not saying that to be ignorant, but, like, there's seriously something wrong with these people. Like, intelligent fucking people. Doctors, lawyers, business people. Like, they're just all losing their fucking minds and baying for innocent people's blood. Like, I have never seen... Well, actually, I have. Like, this is like the Jim Crow South, where you had, like, pillars of the community, pillars of the white community that would show up and attack black people because they broke the rules. Like, it's an exercise in mass hysteria and mass delusion. Let's start making rum. What would be a good Caribbean island without rum? It wouldn't be an island at all. It would be a farce. It would be a little hunk of dirt in the middle of the sea. All Caribbean islands must have good rum. And we have to get our logging industry together, of course. Nice source of easy money early game. You can't have any sense of humor when you murder so many people. That is true. I don't find jokes about murder funny. I don't want to play fucking Wolfenstein. You go play Wolfenstein. I'm teaching you guys how to create a strong socialist country. Oh, 44% approval rating. It's still higher than Biden's. No, 37%. Still higher than Biden's. I bet they're mad because I haven't built a church on the island. I'll give you guys a church so you can go and be brainwashed. The people demand brainwashing. There's your church. So, a lot of good things to export. We're producing rubber, cotton, pineapple, tobacco, sugar, and corn is what the people eat. We're also developing a substantial beef industry. And those hides will not be going to waste. Because as a good socialist, everything must be processed. So I'm building a tannery to process the hides into leather. We're building a lumber mill to process the raw lumber into finished planks. We must develop our productive forces without going bankrupt. We also have mines that are extracting coal and iron. I'm looking for nickel so that I can produce weapons. And we are also going to start developing our military capacity by building forts so that when we declare independence, the crown doesn't push our shit in. So, we're developing nicely. Why do my people hate me? Oh, there's nothing to do. I'm going to build them a bar to go get drunk in. You got to keep your people entertained on this island. Otherwise, they're going to revolt and rebel against you. Thank you for following me. There, they have their little tavern. They can go get drunk. I'm going to build another because we have 237 people on the island, and one little shack that calls itself a tavern is not enough to satisfy the alcoholism needs of 237 people. Let's see. 10 revolutionary immigrants. It's always best to take the people as opposed to the money. The money will disappear, but the people will remain forever. All right, so we're getting our forts together. Oh, hey, I recognize you from YouTube from years ago. Nice to see you here. Nice to see you here as well. I have one of what? The red triangle? Yeah. Well, I'm substantially to the left of Hassan's chat moderators. I will not ban you for using a red triangle emoji. Let's see, what is there to loot? Coconut, sugar, and wool. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, give me more time to get my shit together to overthrow the government and establish my own government. No. Well, you could use the red triangle to your little heart's content in my chat. I really don't pay all that much attention to what other people do, to be honest. Tend to your own affairs. That's how BRG was raised. I like Hassan, though. He serves a pretty valuable role in getting these little white college kids to actually investigate things besides what their professors tell them. So I have no beef with him. He's all right. I really don't have any beef with anybody. Well, Bad Empanada, like I waver between liking him and disliking him because like he just says the most off the wall shit sometimes. I've been reading more socialist literature recently. What would you recommend as a good intro to Maoism? There is literally a book called the Marxism-Leninism Maoism Basic Course that was developed by one of the groups that would go on to found the Communist Party of India, Maoist. Towards the end, they kind of speak quite highly of Pol Pot, but I believe this was written in the early 70s. So other than that, it's a very good introduction. I think Jose Maria Sison, Rest in Power, did a very good primer on Maoist philosophy and other things. And I also recommend Activist Study. I'd say read Settlers, but read it or don't read it. You'll come to the same conclusions anyway, just by studying American history. Good. All our industry is working. So we will declare independence with a very strong economic foundation. Oh. No, he's just that Bad Empanada is just like he's too fucking memey. He's too fucking memey, and like he's a very smart dude. But like just his fan base for one is incredibly toxic. And like he just says crazy shit on Twitter all the time. It was funny, like he was following Zionist accounts around for a while. And whenever one of them would start crying crocodile tears about one of their soldiers getting got in Gaza, he'd be like, did they gather their semen in time? That's funny. Plus Bad Empanada just like starting beef with people for no reason. Well, it's for a reason. It's for engagement. But, like, you should not go around starting shit with people, other creators, for clout. For one, you're not even going to get any clout. You're going to make people fucking hate you. And then, like, for two, it's cheap. I have too much respect for myself to do shit like that. Like, it's just fucking cheap. Like, people wait for you to say a problematic trademark thing, and then they just follow you around, or they have their fans follow you around and harass you. Like, who does that serve? Does that serve the movement? Does that serve the people? No, it serves yourself and it serves your ego. And it doesn't even accomplish what you want to get accomplished. So, yeah. I don't do that. Dick riding. I don't want all these shacks close to my palace. Jesus, what type of communist am I? Mao would allow the squatters to just camp out in Shongnangai. If you don't mind me asking, what would you recommend after reading State and Revolution? Would it be good to jump right to Mao or maybe read more Lenin? I highly recommend that you read Imperialism. Read the April thesis too. But you could also get your Lenin through Mao. Honestly, it's up to you. Oh, you liked Bennett, but well, honestly, the thing with Vosh is that Vosh takes himself down. Like, you really don't have to put all that much energy into dumping on Vosh, because Vosh will inevitably say something stupid that will fuck him over. So, yeah, you don't have to dedicate a bunch of time and energy. Like, anybody that I see that dedicates most of their time to talking about other content creators or other people, like, that's how I can tell you're not a serious person. Like, you're cheap. I don't do cheap shit like that. Yeah, if you say something incredibly stupid, like slavery is historically progressive, then yeah, I'm probably going to roast you. But otherwise, no, it's a waste of fucking time. It's a waste of fucking time, and it's a cheap way to get attention for yourself. Too many fucking attention hounds. Another chapel. People really like your religious brainwashing, hey? I'm going to build a bar right next to the church. Priests like to drink too. That's one thing I learned from going to a Catholic university. Like, Catholics love to party. I mean, they drink wine during their communion service, for Christ's sake. They love the ball. No, my mandate is running out. Oh, no. Guess I gotta kiss the crown's ass. Well, they'll get their cotton on tie. That'll satisfy them. And voila. There we go. Let my Teamsters carry a little bit more. Goose our economy up a bit. Why are all of my workers up here living in shacks? I don't like that. Nobody lives in shacks on BRG's island. I'll build you some raggedy-ass bunkhouses, but it's still better than sleeping in a fucking flammable shack. I am playing Tropico, yes. This is Tropico 6, I believe. Yes, I'm very aware of that. Sick shit. And he outed himself. He outed himself during one of his streams. Like, he inadvertently opened up the folder where he had all this. First of all, why do you have shit stored like that? That's like storing shit on your work computer. Like, I always laugh at these perverts that get caught because they have porn on their hard drive at work. Like, why would you use your work computer? Like, you know you have your streamer, okay? You have this computer that you use for your streams, basically your work computer, right? Why would you have shit like that stored on your work computer that tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people see what you do on it? Because inevitably one day you're going to make a mistake. You're going to make a mistake and you're going to inadvertently open this shit And they're gonna see the type of shit that you like to get off to. His ass is gonna end up in jail. Like, mark my words. Cause yeah, that's fucking gross, man. It's fucking icky. Alright, so we're sending rum to the crowd. Vosh doesn't care about trans people. Yeah, Vosh doesn't care about anybody. Vosh doesn't care about anybody but himself, and apparently he doesn't care about himself all that much. Sick fuck. That's what he is. Sick fuck. Same thing with Caleb Maupin. Like, you started a political organization that already has horrible ass politics, and then you are forcing your comrades to perform as sex workers. Like, and it's always fucking, well, I was going to say it's always fucking white dudes, but it's not, because Gazi Kodzo was also a thing, but he was a nut from the get-go. And yeah, unfortunately, I actually worked for him for a little bit on Hood Communist, but he came out with the Anne Frank bullshit, and I was like, yeah, this is fucking gross. So, be careful who you work with, because it will have ramifications. Be careful who you platform, because it will have ramifications if this person turns out to be a fucker, as Gazi Kodzo was. Let's grow some coffee. Coffee always fetches a decent export price, yeah? But yeah, because like, Vosh's people like their stance. Like, these people are insane. Like, if he told all these people to jump off a fucking bridge, he'd do it. They do it. Because they're like Vosh, sad little motherfuckers that think they know everything. And yeah. Like seeks like. Like attracts like. Like, why are most of my fans fucking nerds? Because I'm a fucking nerd. I wish it had been more obviously ill, so his fan base wouldn't cling to him. Well, you have to keep in mind, most of his fan base is into that shit too. Like, most of his fan base is into that disgusting shit too. Why would you expect perverts to cancel other perverts? Because somebody mentioned them. It's always good practice to dump on Vosh. At least the psychology students have something to do research on. He's also in the habit, him and his fans are also in the habit of talking recklessly to black people, especially women. So, yeah. That's another reason why people should follow. Of course, I don't think I have any, like, cross-contamination with Vosh fans, which is good. I don't want those perverts fucking following me. Let's build a bunch of mines. Let's wreck the earth. The Brits will get their tobacco. Why are my fishermen so fucking lazy? Have you run out of fish? Fuck it, I'll build another newspaper. One way or another, I will not keep kissing the crown's ass to stay in power. Cram y'all into these bunk houses by the newspaper so you read the newspaper, become convinced of the necessity of revolution so I can stop this shit. I'm not going to keep exporting various things to the crown. Xander Hall. I don't pay any attention to any of these fucking freaks. Like I keep saying, like, what the fuck does some ginger white dude have to teach me about revolution? Not a damn thing. Like, what would I get from paying any attention to what that pervert Volch says? Nothing. It's a waste of time. I could spend it cutting off monsters' heads in Skyrim or something productive. Where is my tobacco? Okay. They're not behaving today. I'm not giving money to anybody with the fucking American flag in there. They... Ahead of a vigil for Aaron Bushnell in NYC, NYPD has mobilized at least 30 cops wearing riot helmets and carrying metal batons, also known as hats and bats. Let's see. Oh, they had a vigil for him in DC yesterday. Yep. Follow Talia James. She was the one that actually broke this story in the first place. Oh yeah, Calawash is good. She had me blocked for like a year, or I blocked her first, I think. Identity politics is not inherently divisive, but it is absolutely ineffective unless paired with Marxist and anti-colonial analysis. Identity politics, removed from class analysis and intersections of all forms of repression, essentially advocates for a more inclusive capitalism. A proper Marxist anti-imperialist and anti-colonial axis analysis requires a proper political understanding of race, gender, sexual orientation, and all forms of identity. It is not identity reductionism to acknowledge the caveats and nuances of oppression across different groups of people. But yeah, identity politics, there's really nothing inherently wrong with it. There is something wrong with it when you use it for reaction, when you use it to support Kamala Harris and shit like that. Her ass looked like the chicken tenders I get in Kennedy. Oh my god. I'm going to take a nap. That's fucking wild. Those people who did that weren't Maoists. Why do people think that everybody that does direct action is either a Maoist or an anarchist? Like, Kala Wolf certainly is not a Maoist. She's actually a member of Friends for China, if I recall correctly. I still respect her and her action. But, like, no, she's not a Maoist. I know what a Maoist is.